Hey everybody, Sean Holsinger here from holsingersflyshop.com, bringing you another fly tying video. This time I'm bringing you a streamer tying video. And the streamer I'm going to tie today is called an Alevin. The Alevin is a fish, and it's a fry of a fish actually, and what it is when the fish hatches from the egg, it comes out of the egg and it looks like part of the egg is still attached to it, and it's the stomach of the fish, and it becomes absorbed into the fish and disappears. So it has this orange looking egg still on it and hanging down from its belly, and that's what we're going to imitate with this fly. The one I'm going to tie for you here today, I do swing it for trout in the wintertime. It's a really good, and the spring on the stockies. It's a killer on the stockies. I really like fishing it early. But I'm tying this one a little bit bigger and on a little bit bigger hooks because I'm going for steelhead this weekend. And so I'm going to have it out there ready for my steelhead fishing. So I'm using a little bit bigger, stiffer hook. But other than that, drop down on your hook a little bit. Use the same materials if you want. Change up your materials if you don't have them. And, just whatever. Try to keep it in and around the same pattern, and I'm sure it'll work for you. Give it a try. So, here it is, the Alevin streamer. Alright, this is my version of the Alevin. You can see I got this in the vise upside down. This is the way we're going to actually finish the fly. But we're going to start it out right side up, but here's the right side up version, but when you fish the fly, it's going to be upside down. So with the bead is going to turn it upside down whenever it's fished, because this is a metallic tungsten bead here. So let's get the hook in the vise and get started on this. The hook we're using is a 2557 specialty hook from Daiichi. And this one is a size 6. I had to check and make sure I had the number right for you there. What we're going to use for thread is DO2, which is white Vivus thread, DO2 in 10 aught. And I'm just going to get this started on here and lay down a layer of thread. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of monofilament on here. This is 4-pound mono, and this is how we're going to tie the bead on here to make the egg sac on the fly. So we're just going to tie this down, and I'll tie it towards the back, and then I'm going to come back and tie it over itself, and we're just going to work our way towards the front here. A couple wraps. Doesn't have to be perfect, just enough to get it up there. It's kind of a pain in the butt to wrap that way. Then I'm going to take and I'm going to put the bead on, and I'm going to put the bead on. This is actually a tungsten slotted bead. I like the tungsten slotted bead because it's less glue to fill in here in a minute whenever we put this in. We're just going to put it on the way you would put it on the hook. Put it in with the small side of the small hole in first with the mono, and have the gap on the other side, your thread come out that side, okay? Then what we're going to do is I'm going to tie this down, and I'm going to tie it right about above the hook, above the point of the hook there. So it's back from the eye a little bit, so we have room to build a head up. You can see it's a little bit better than halfway back, and we'll tie it down there, and then I'm just going to wrap around here a couple times, make loops around this bead so it locks in place, stays on top of the hook. And then I'm going to pull my thread up here again one more time so it's sure that it's locked into place. We'll trim this off. Okay, now we got our bead all tied down and locked in place. What I'm going to do next is make a nice layer of white here just to cover it up to make the body on this, and get it kind of smoothed out. Then I'm going to glue this bead in place, and I'm going to use some UV glue for it, UV thick. And what we're going to do, look down over the top here, make sure I have it nice and centered on there, and then I'm going to put some glue on here, build this up just a hair. But the way I'm going to build it up is I'm going to build it up towards the back, and I'm not going to get a whole lot in the front, but I'm going to make sure I get it covered around the hook there, so I get a nice, make sure that's locked into place. Okay, and I don't want to put too much on, but I want it tapered from the bead back to the bend of the hook. And You see, I'll roll it around here so it stays in place where I want, and then I'm going to hit it with my light so that glue hardens up right away. There you can see it's nice and hard. And there is the sack, the egg sack on the fly for us. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some foxtail. I'm going to tie this all with foxtail. And it's just, foxtail's really easy to use. That's why I like it. It gives you nice action in the water. It's very lively in the water. I tie a good many flies with foxtail. I'm going to take a clump of it. This is a little bit much, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch the ends of it. Okay, and then we're just going to pull out all the fluff. There's a lot of fluff in this. You can see how much of that underfur I pulled out of there. And we're just going to finish pulling out the underfur. And we're going to tie this in place. Now, I don't want a real long fly, because like I said, this is a minnow imitation, so we're not tying a big long streamer. What I actually want is about the length of the hook shank behind the bend of the eye. And I'm going to tie it all off to the one side here to start, and then I'll separate it in a minute. Okay, I'm going to make a couple loose wraps and then tighten it down and get it nice and tight right on top of that hook. Then we'll trim that off, and then try a couple different variations. This one works for me. This is what I like to tie it with. I like to tie it with a little bit of purple next, and it's hard to get a hold of some purple. Try it in greens, blues, reds, whatever you want, whatever you can get your hand on, or whatever moves you, whatever you like. If you're confident in it, that's what's going to catch a fish. You might not be as confident in this purple color as I am, so you might like to use pink in the middle. Make it more like a rainbow. And then again, pulling out the fluff. When I pull out the fluff, the benefit of this is it gets it down to the size that I need it. I don't want a lot. I just want enough to make a nice mid vein there, like the lateral line on this fish. Okay, now I'm going to match that up with the white. I don't really want it any longer than the white. And I'm going to tie that down. And I'm going to make sure I keep it on top. And tie it down. And I can go back towards that bead there pretty close. That's fine. I need some room here at the end of this fly to put eyes on it. So now we're going to just cover that up. Get a nice blend down to the eye there. Keeping a nice taper going the whole time. Now I'm going to put a little bit of flash on this, and for flash I'm using some peacock crystal flash, about 5 or so strands of it, and I'm going to take, like I said, about 5 or so strands. I'm going to tie it on the side closest to me first, and make a couple wraps there, get it tied on, and then I'm just going to wrap it around to the other side, and we'll tie it onto the other side, and I'm going to tie it back to the back there, keeping it nice right on the sides. And if anything, you can kind of taper it up into that purple, because the purple, like I said, the purple is kind of like the lateral line on this fly, so we're just going to kind of tease it up into that purple area there. And then I want this to be about the same length. So I'm just going to trim this off the same length as the hair on the fly. There we go. And then I'll put my last color on. And my last color I'm using is blue. And a lot of times, especially the Spirit River foxtail, it comes with black tips on the end. Just gives you some extra color. So don't worry if you get a pack and it's, you know, you order a pack of blue and it comes with black tips on the end. There's no uniformity in fish, and a lot of times the fish is black is a darker color, so having a darker color on top is no big deal. So we're going to lay that right on top of the purple there, wrap it around, couple wraps, trim it off and blend that head down again. Okay. Then we're just going to make a nice head here that we can put our eyes onto. And just smooth this all out. And get it blended up to the eye nice. Okay, once we get that done, then we're just going to whip finish it. Like I said, this is one of my favorite streamers for stock trout. You know, early in the spring, whenever the first stock trout in April and May, they crush this fly. I love fishing this fly that time of year. Now the next thing we're going to do is put eyes on this, and I'm going to use some UV glue again to put the eyes on. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to twist this onto its side. That's where a rotary vise comes in really handy. And what I'm going to do is put just a little dab of glue on the side here. And then for eyes, I'm using 3mm living eyes from Fish Skulls. The color I'm using is Fire. And I'm just going to set it on top of that glue that I just put on there. And make sure it stays on the side once I get it where I want it. There we go. Once I get it where I want it, I'll just hit it with the light. And that'll lock it into place. You see there? It locks into place. So then I'll put the other side on real quick. The same way, I'm just going to put a little dab of glue right on the side of there. Then come in with my other eye. Get it nice on the side there. Make sure it's nice and even and level with the other eye. Okay. Then we're just going to wrap some glue around this to make a nice head on it and finish the fly off. And protect these eyes. Get them locked into place so they're not going anywhere. Make sure you wrap the whole way around with your glue. There we go. And make a nice round head there. And that's all that's to this Alevin fly. Now what I'm going to do is I'll pop it out of the vise here. And then I'm just going to split that hair with the hook. And there you can see the hook goes right down the middle. That's why I said don't worry about tie it all on the side. And I'll put it in the vise so you can see it again here. And there is the Alevin fly. Let me get you lined up straight. That's pretty easy streamer to tie. I really like using this foxtail because I can tie nice quick flies with it and they catch fish because you get a lot of, you can see how active and stuff that the Arctic fox fibers is. So give this one a try. I'm sure you're going to catch fish on it. I know I do. And like I said, don't be afraid to use it in the springtime on the stock trout. One of the reasons I'm tying it in this color is because I'm going to be using it for steelhead next week. And that hook is a great hook for steelhead. It'll hold the steelhead no problem. And it'll hold a big salmon if I get into a big salmon on it too. So give it a try. Anything you need to tie this fly, you can find at the shop. That's a Hannock bead. I think I forgot to say there. Orange metallic bead from Hannock. Size is 3.5 millimeters. And everything else is foxtail. You can get at the shop, and the eyes and everything else. So thanks for watching, everybody. Like us on Facebook and Instagram, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you're constantly updated with new videos. Thanks for watching, everybody. I enjoy bringing them to you. I'm Sean Holsinger.